Hi guys, welcome to Fearless Gray Live. How are you? All right, so minor recap from last week or what we're doing. Um, I realized like over the course of time, like the last 2 years, I've come back and forth to Fearless Gray here and there, and what I lacked was consistency. Like I always had the same vision for it, but I lacked the consistency. And then now on top of that, like our roaring 20s are coming, you guys, and like what is it, 20 days or at max, like a whole another decade is starting for us, and it's a great opportunity to like really maximize our micro actions. And so, what are micro actions? Micro actions are like taking small actions that lead to a macro action. So when we're starting a decade, of course, it's a great time to like really be thoughtful about this because think about if we take, so the goal is to take 3 micro actions a day, and these 3 micro action a day is 1,000 points of light a year times a decade would be 10,000. I'm so good at math. But, and so if we're taking these micro actions every day for an entire, week, month, year, decade, they just pile up. And so, I think, so this is what I'm doing for myself, and I invite you to do the same. So I have like an overall vision, maybe like that I'd like Fearless Gray to be in 10 years. But those aren't the micro actions I'm taking. I'm kind of breaking it down into like small goals. And then within the goals, I'm having micro actions. So that's one way that I think that we could look at having the biggest impact in an entire decade. Because really our goal is to make our days worthwhile, right? To fulfill our next assignment in this life, whatever it is. And I think when we're proactive taking micro actions, we're much more likely to have a bigger impact. Because I just like say, I look back in my life, and if I don't have consistent routine and rhythm to my life, then it kind of comes and goes and comes and goes, and I'm not getting maximum value. So one way that I think that we could do this is there's 2 different ways. And one way is kind of like I just described, the goal setting. Big goal, maybe even make a big vision, break it down to goals, break it down to pieces. But today I really wanted to talk a little bit more about the other way that I see that we could have a huge impact in the next decade, and that's breaking our micro actions down into body, mind, and soul. And so, what if every day we just take a small action an action for our body, an action for our mind, an action for our soul? Just 1, 2, 3 micro actions. And think about if we consistently do that day after day, week, month, year, decade, where will we be when we're, because we're all turning a big number sometime in the next decade, right? Like all of us are turning either 40 to 50, 50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70, 80, 80 to 90. We're turning a big decade. But imagine the impact that we can have if we're really thoughtful with just our super micro actions. So if we do a body, mind, and soul, I think that's a really good way to do it because I feel like they're all interacted. I have to get my notes. They dropped. Okay, so for example, like I think if we take micro actions for our soul, that's kind of like the visionary part of us, right? Our soul is kind of the one who like sees the greater good and wants to do the greater good, and like can visualize what we can do in the next decade. So we need to be growing our soul. So our mind is kind of like takes the action. So our soul has this vision, but we need our mind to think and plan and take the action. So we need to be growing our mind the whole time. And then our body is the one who really takes the action, right? Or the actioner, the actor, or the actor, the body is. And so all 3 of these are really important if we want to have this huge impact in, like I said, the weeks, the months, the years, the decade. And so we need to really be working each day to do a small thing to grow our body, mind, and soul because they're interwoven. Again, the soul is the vision. The mind is the thought, they're putting it into action, making a plan, and then the body does the actions. So they all have to be at their peak level of fitness for us to do these amazing, great things. And like if we think about how we want our body to be, let's say I want to be in the best shape and I want to be able to be flexible and perfect balance and all these things. If we like jump in too big, it's overwhelming. And that's why we're going to break these down and just start taking a small action, body, mind, and soul. And the key for this, like us doing this for the next, over time to get these micro actions to macro results, is we're going to celebrate. So like when we get to 300 points of light, you're going to find a way to celebrate. That's a really important part of our 1,000 points of light is to take time to celebrate our wins, and our wins are our accumulation of points of light. So that's that's the thought for today. Tomorrow I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper into like breaking down our goals if we're going to do it that way. Like I said, there's really two ways I see as taking these micro actions for macro wins. One is body, mind, and soul, and one is like goals. And I think they're both important. Whichever one you pick is great. But tomorrow we're going to break down goals a little bit more. Have a great day. Lock on. Don't forget to work on your balance today. See you later.